There we go. Recording is now in progress. We did the, I've been watching Police Academy movies because we did the seventh one for Films and Filth, but then I just
Oh,
started watching the others, because how much did you watch those?
I was gonna say, I think I had one. I think I had one that I'd recorded off cable, and it had Bobcat in it.
He's in like three or four of them, but yeah.
Oh, geez. Okay. Well,
It
this
wasn't the first, I can tell you that.
he was already part of Police Academy. Oh gosh, what is four? Citizen
Citizens
on
arrest and then
Patrol?
patrol. Yeah.
That's the one I saw.
Okay, there we go. No, we were just when we did the podcast, we were like, oh, we both like watched the crap out of like the sequels in particular. The first one is like I guess the most legit movie. It has Kim Cattrall in
Yeah.
it, right? She's out after that, and then this franchise isn't good enough for Steve Guttenberg after the fourth one.
Oh wow. Geez, that's a pretty low bar. I just remember
Oop.
we saw the one that had the leather bar in it, and
That's in
we
all
had
of them.
oh, okay. Well, in that case, we had absolutely no idea what that was, but wasn't Frank Oz one of them? Or am I thinking of one of the Muppet movies where Frank Oz was in leather?
That
Maybe
I don't
maybe
know.
he
That
was maybe he was in part one, the first Muppet movie in as a leather daddy in some bar scene, maybe. I don't know.
what that's gonna be a weird search. Frank Oz Leather Daddy. I have to see what result that brings up.
Oh, do you want to use your VPN first?
No, I got a whole bunch of pictures of Frank Oz.
Okay.
My heater needs fuel. Here, Andrew is waving at you. Why is it
Uh,
making that song at me? Did you hit the button? There we go. Okay. My heater needs fuel, apparently.
oh, that's gonna yeah, the fumes that'll be a great creative asset.
Yeah, you'll start to look like one of the masked people by the time I'm finished.
Yeah. Oh,
But where were we? Police Academy. Yeah, I watched the first two. But it's one of those things where if you fall asleep after 20 minutes, it really doesn't matter.
oh, I'm sure. No, I never had the desire to delve into those. I think yeah, that may have been the only one I saw.
Right. But no, we were just surprised because both of us said, "Hey, you watch the crap out of this. I watch the crap out of this," but we never discussed them. So
Oh, well, yeah, well, one of my heroes was Michael Winslow because he, doing all of the did they ever determine whether or not he actually did all those noises with his mouth, the sound
I
effects?
assumed he did, but now that you're asking, I'm wondering. Oh,
He just
the
he was like my favorite character because of that. Like I tried to imitate like all the sounds that he did.
right, of course, of course. That is at the Frank Oz is a leather daddy in the El Sleazo bar fight, and he beats up Fozzie Bear, which is kind of funny.
Okay, so that would be the yeah, he's with Paul Williams at the El Sleazo. That's where Kermit and Fozzie meet.
Does Paul Williams beat up Kermit?
No, he just continues playing. He announces Fozzie. He brings him up on stage.
Oh, right, okay. No, because I just watched Star Trek Voyager where Paul Williams shows up, and that was weird.
Well, God, he shows up. He'll show up in everything or anything.
Not after
So he's
1980
good.
though, so seeing an older Paul Williams show up is like kind of jarring. In the 70s, he shows up in everything.
That's true. That's true. God, why was he everyone's favorite? Because his ears were the most well covered.
Yay, okay.
That's what the 70s were about, making sure your ears are not seen by
Right.
your hair.
Sorry. I just feel like I need to keep ranting until the fuel comes back, which usually I do myself, but actually it's
Do it.
almost well, it might get worse again, but I kind of want to, like sciatic nerve things. So going down the
Oh,
ground and refueling was kind of like not what I wanted to do for a while.
sure.
So which maybe it's under control. And I'm having all these old people problems. My hands are like clicking and stuff. It's crazy.
What? Like how?
Like my thumbs keep popping, pop, 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 pop.
Oh man,
And then my pinky got old. Apparently that's permanent.
what happened to that? What is
The
that?
cartilage is gone, and then it just grows bone there.
Oh man, dude, you're falling apart. What the hell?
Yeah, I know my hands seem to be getting prematurely old, which sucks, but yeah, what can you do?
I thought mine were bad just because of how wrinkly they've always been, but I've got nothing going
No, they're
like
not
that.
wrinkly or anything, so it's still going that way. But yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Just as in the past few months, like I've started to have like weird problems. So
okay, so is this going to affect playing guitar?
I don't know. Not that much because it's your thumb, right? It's the thumbs that are clicky, but yeah.
Okay. Damn, man. All right, well, just stop there. Don't add anything to all of that.
Oh, what to do? No, I mean it's not like yeah, it's just mostly just like my thumbs keep popping and that's weird. Sorry, I'm adding to it now. I'm vamping till the heat comes back.
It's fine. Continue. I don't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
I mean I was just playing video games.
Yeah. I wonder if the pinky thing's just from mouse use too. Like last year I finally got like an ergonomically decent mouse, but I was just using like
Mhm.
an old school crap. Well, I was using this one for a really long time because
Oh, sure.
I was using a really old computer and it like would not accept like a new mouse for some reason. So
Oh, is that the one that you're always having the weird crackly sound on it? Oh.
well, thank you. I could see you there. It's not like thank you.
That was great.
Mm. Okay. She was like, "Oh, I'm surprising you," but she's it's a
I was gonna
mirror
say
here.
I saw her, but I wasn't gonna say anything in case she was surprising you.
No, no, I could also see. Yeah, so. Okay, I guess that means we can actually do the show then.
Good.
Dare masks. Let's see, bringing up my notes. Okay, let me leave a few minutes of silence. A few minutes, excuse me, a few seconds of silence, or a few minutes. I guess we could do that too, but and then we'll get rolling. Welcome to Time Enough Podcast. It's where we put on the masks of every episode of The Twilight Zone and deform our faces into different contortions. This is Matt here. Over there is Andrew. How is it
Hi.
going?
Pretty good until you said that.
Well, you don't want to wear a mask? You like masks.
Um, I like I like hearing the word masks because it's got all this never
Right.
gets old.
Well, they never, the toys in the 80s didn't have this, though. It's just mask, right? Those are cool toys.
Mobile Armored Strike Command singular.
Singular. Okay. Wait, singular's not the S then.
Nope.
No. Okay.
That's an
Um,
awesome memory.
oh, what, you coming up with a name?
No, I think that's mask is a pleasant memory.
Oh, okay. You're just saying it's a nice memory. Okay. I was impressed you came up with the what the acronym stood for because I certainly didn't remember.
Oh,
Um,
I'm not gonna forget. I'll forget my own name before I'm gonna. That's my lot in life, full of trivia instead of useful information.
oh, I had a whole bunch of trivia coming in a minute, but
Kick ass.
this is this one that you've watched a fair amount, a little bit?
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Because this was one of your actually a lot of people requested this and it just kind of ended up in your lap in the end. So
Well, well, well.
this was a highly requested episode. So
Hmm. Well, that's interesting.
I'm actually not sure I've seen it before. I mean, I obviously, this is one of the iconic ones, so you know the
Right.
imagery from it, right? But
Yeah.
although I guess it's a little easy to mix it up with Eye of the Beholder because of the wonky looking people. They're more pig people in that one than this one, but yeah.
We can go ahead and say they ripped themselves off. It's fine.
Yeah, but they did it in a different way, and there's no pig noses here, I don't believe. Yeah, none of them have a pig nose.
This is a kind of a pig nose. There's one.
Okay.
It's okay.
Uh,
It's fine.
well, there's a lot of people in this one, so I guess I will just jump right into that trivia and do it.
Okay.
The original air date was March 20th, 1964. The script is a Serling. Ida Lupino directed, the only female director of the original Twilight Zone, and the only director who also starred in an episode of The Twilight Zone. We saw her previously in the 60 millimeter Shrine as an actor, and she did plenty of work in both trades. Acting wise, we'll shout out The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, The Sea Wolf, High Sierra, and Deep Valley. Directing wise, she was the first woman to direct a film noir with The Hitchhike, along with films like Not Wanted and Outrage, dealing with controversial issues at the time and still somewhat controversial, I suppose. Robert Keith was Jason Foster. Foster. He was a notable character actor in the 50s, showing up with Marlon Brando in The Wild Ones and Guys and Dolls. Milton Seltzer was Wilfred Harper. His career focused mostly on Broadway, eventually morphing into a bunch of TV guest spots. We've already seen him in The Zone as the alien in Hocus Pocus and Frisbee. Emily Harper is played by Virginia Gregg. She started off in radio and moved over to television by the mid 50s. She was known for spots on Dragnet and both media formats. Brooke Hayward played Paula Harper. Her father was producer Leland Hayward, who did movies like South Pacific, and her mother, actress Margaret Sullivan. Apparently, growing up was a wild affair with them and resulted in her best selling 1977 memoir, Haywire. It probably didn't help that she also spent most of the 60s married to Dennis Hopper. The 60s with Hopper. That's
Jeez.
like double strength, right?
Well, I mean, you're gonna get punched a lot no matter what it was, but
Yeah.
I would guess the 60s you're probably getting punched more
Mm.
than in the other another decade,
Yeah, she wrote a book about it.
I'm sure.
Wilfred Harper. Wilfred Harper Jr. was played by Alan Suze. Alan Suze, you. His career
Mm.
would pop a few years later as he was a regular player on Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In. What you talking about? Willis Bolchie was Dr. Samuel Thorne. He came to acting a little later in life and often appeared in westerns like The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance and noirs like The Big Heat. Okay, that is my trivia. Um, do you by chance have an opening narration within your eye line?
Yeah, I was just grabbing that. So let's see if Serling gives us a clue
A
as
rap?
to where the Twilight Zone is. No, he's always going to give us a. Are you kidding me? All right, are we ready?
Yes.
Mr. Jason Foster, a tired ancient, who on this particular Mardi Gras evening will leave the earth. But before departing, he has some things to do, some services to perform, some debts to pay, and some justice to mete out. This is New Orleans, Mardi Gras time. It is also the Twilight Zone. Whoa, we're in the Twilight Zone.
There we go. Is New
Dang.
Orleans a Twilight Zone? I've never been to New Orleans, actually. Have you been to New Orleans?
My wife has, I have not, but I have
Oh,
recently eaten a king cake, so I think that counts.
okay, that's like being there. Because I was
Sure.
thinking, like, basically what I know about New Orleans is from Live and Let Die and The Easy Rider, which is both of those are also out of date as far as, you know, the city.
Oh no, I've heard a lot of people say great things about it, but a friend of mine went last year and said it was unbelievably hot there, and I'm like, well, that's everywhere.
Well, it depends what time of year you go. Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Again, this is your choice. What hits you in particular about this episode?
Okay, a couple things. One, I always go for the ones that have something creepy about them, something horror movie-esque about them. And this one has, although any Twilight Zone fan would probably see it coming, a wonderful snap ending, featuring prosthetic makeup effects. It also has a group of assholes. Can I say that?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay. It's another one where there's a whole bunch of assholes uh in the plot. And so no really likable folks except for I guess we would say the doctor and the maid and the butler.
Yeah,
The maid
nothing
and the
wrong with those
butler.
folks.
Yeah, the maid and the butler were two black actors and they speak to each other in a scene where there's no one else, like no white people talking to
That's
them.
the
I thought that
opening
was
scene
great.
too. No,
Yep.
honestly, I was like, should I put them in trivia? But I just done like six people, and I was like, that's enough
Sure.
trivia for this one.
Oh, think so? Oh, well, I'll
I can do
say
the quick
the
version.
Jeffrey the butler was
Jeffrey
played
the
by Bill
Butler,
Bill
Bill
Walker.
Walker.
And then
Zinda Kill a Mockingbird as Reverend Sykes. Okay, Maidie
the
Norman as Maid.
yep,
Maidie, her name is Maidie, and she's the maid.
yeah.
That seems a little on the nose. Um,
Lady Ruth Gamble was her maiden name. She's from Georgia,
oh yeah.
which is where I currently am. So,
Right.
and where both of us are from. So,
Er,
pretty cool.
Oh, she was born with the name Gamble. Then she could have also been like in a gambling movie as a gambler,
That's true. With
but she
Kenny
changed it.
Rogers. Yeah, she could have. She lived to
Changed, yeah.
1998. But yeah, there's just a few things about it. Just it is reminiscent of The Eye of the Beholder in terms of the makeup, but I just love, one of my favorites is the one with the critic, where he's got the piano in the house.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah,
it's the
yeah, yeah.
actual name. Where
Air Force.
everybody kind of lights him up. So this is sort of the reverse of that, where you've got the dying um patriarch of this family, and immediately it's sort of like a House on Haunted Hill setup, where it's like, you've got until midnight to inherit all this money, but you have to make it. All they really have to do
And I'm
is
scheduling my death for midnight, which is impressive.
yeah.
And I will speak as a thespian until that moment.
He really did it though. So yeah, for me, I just like the elderly protagonists. I like the group of jerks that's the family that's waiting on the old person to die. It's just got so many like great tropes of not just my favorite Twilight Zone episodes, but it's also just some of my favorite tropes of classic movies in general.
Yeah, I guess we
And
also saw with one more pallbearer where the wealthy industrialist brings all the people that he perceived slighted him earlier in his life, right? So a little
Yes,
bit of
very
that kind of
similar.
vibe. That said, I don't think this one's like we have had episodes that were like annoyingly derivative, especially in season five.
They at
This
least
is
mix
not
it
one
up.
of them by any means. I mean, it chooses flavors from previous episodes for sure, but it's a I would say it's very much its own thing. Season five, of course, we've really started to notice more and more and more parlor sniping, so this is another showcase for that.
hmm Yeah, but it's what's wonderful about it is that I think right off the bat you like this guy even though he's a jerk. The character, oh gosh, what's
Jason
his name?
Foster, Mr.
Okay,
Jason Foster.
so Jason Foster. Yeah, got the John Waters mustache happening. I mean, he's cantankerous, and those characters are either meet their a fate that's well deserved, or they get their revenge. And so this also is reminiscent of the way EC Comics stories sometimes go.
Oh yeah, for sure. One interesting
Like,
thing is everyone else is a Harper, so he's a Foster, so he's got a different family name, and I don't even know if that's important. I'm just like we're trying to work out exactly how that works out, you know?
oh, I don't
Like
know.
his daughter goes and gets married, and I don't know. Maybe Emily the daughter. I don't know. Anyway, I just feel like if you're writing a script, that would suggest some kind of division, like if you're doing that on purpose.
I would say that so. I mean, Serling didn't do anything by accident.
I'm sure he did something by accident. Fell on his face, tripped over a banana peel, that sort of thing.
Oh, explosive diarrhea. Yeah.
Yeah. I
That was on
just
purpose.
exploded. Sorry. That was on purpose, folks. I meant to do that.
I wanted brown slacks, not tan.
Right. Yeah, but I guess it's interesting that he's such a cantankerous guy because usually we do get a Barry Morse or someone like an actor to really like kind of hang our hat on. Whereas, I mean, obviously this guy's got a career and stuff, but
Mhm.
it's not really. It's not like an icon, you know. We already mentioned
No.
Dennis Hopper. He shows up, Dennis Hopper's there, right?
Yeah, it's true, but also it means you don't know quite what to expect from this character and go either way.
Right. Yeah, yeah. I just have he was hanging out with Marlon Brando. Okay, I guess that's his main thing. The father of Brando. He's Brando's dad in the Wild One. Okay, what do you know?
Gosh, it's weird that I don't remember that because I've seen The Wild One so many times, although not maybe not in the last like 5 years. Um,
And I mean, Dad might not be the most notable character in that movie anyway.
Probably not. God, I remember Brando. It's hard to imagine that character having any family at all.
That guy didn't want to hang out with his parents.
No, they're squares, man.
I think I mean, you could live your life looking weird.
True.
They've gotten their inheritance and now they look weird. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
it's if
they're
you're
not
rich, it
that
doesn't
much.
matter, does it?
No, it doesn't. I mean, think of how many extremely old people are, on both sides of the fence in Washington. They look like the people at the end of this.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And what's rad is, every time I watch it, I always think about, man, they had to wear all this makeup, which couldn't have been comfortable, and then had to wear the mask on top of it.
For one shot.
Well, but still though, anything could happen when they pull, depending on who did the makeup, they pull this mask off and then half the makeup comes with it. It was
Mm,
they really knew what they were doing, or their
yeah, but I
actual
mean, it's a
face.
TV shoot. I mean, it's not like a movie setup where they could have spent a day doing that. They probably had to do like 10, setups that day.
Yeah, no, I doubt that they cast the people's faces. They just kind of glued it on them, and it looked like it. But what was wonderful is that their whole point is that the ugliness they have on the inside comes out on the outside. And I that it would just that honestly, this is one of the timeless ones. It could easily play today with just people's values not really changing.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, at the end, they look slightly less weird. I actually wrote 50% less weird because now their mouths move. It was really weird when they had the grotesque masks on and their mouths were not moving and they were talking.
Yeah, but you could change dialogue later.
Oh, yeah, you can do that. But no, no, at the end, they have the weird faces and their
Yep.
mouths are moving. I'm like, well, that actually makes it instantly less weird because now it's like a functioning being, at least, even if they look weird.
Yeah, there was like, they run the gamut, little Dick Tracy looking type makeup. But mostly you just were waiting for someone to go, needle, please.
Yeah, maybe Dick Tracy ruined this not ruined this episode, but it's like, yeah, these are just Dick Tracy villains, whatever. Is this how all Dick Tracy villains get their start? They go to some weird guy's Mardi Gras party and he makes them wear, now you're blockhead or whatever.
I'm sure.
Hmm. I don't know, which Dick Tracy villain do you want to choose? Who do you want to be?
Oh man.
There's a guy
Well,
who doesn't isn't there a guy who has like a coffee mug head? I want to be that guy. Coffee head guy. That's
oh
probably not
no.
his name.
What coffee head guy? His name is Sanka.
Dick Tracy Coffee. I gotta get this guy's name out correctly,
This
don't
is
I?
actively doing Google during the podcast.
Oh, his name's Coffee Head, but it's spelled like the Pam Grier movie. It's,
Oh,
Coffy. So there we go.
okay.
That's I want the Coffee Head mask, and I'll be Coffee Head at the end of the night.
Yeah, no, let's see, whose mask would I get? Dick Tracy, is it gotta be? Jeez. I don't know. I thought the skull one was great, and I'm every time I see it, I hope that he's got a skull,
Yeah, I
underneath it.
was like, why didn't his face change? He should get to have a skull face corpse.
I guess he didn't pretend to be anything other than what he was. That was the thing. And so, but he said, I get skull, I get death because I'm alive. So wouldn't he
So
get?
once he's dead, then now everything fits, right?
I guess
That's how the
so,
that's
but
how the juju works, I guess.
whoa, way to kill the buzz, though. I would have loved to see Skullface guy, or maybe the doctor had took it off of him. Skullface.
You just want Skeletor like 20 years early.
I do. Um, I also
Skeletor.
I think it's important to note also that the butler, the fact that he's got a name, the character has a name, Jeffrey, and that he shows up like more than once, I think is just cool, you know?
Yeah. I guess
Just-
well, maybe it's because they got all the Mardi Gras going on outside, so it needs to feel like a little more like lively, right? So you need a few more actors in the house to make
I don't
it
know.
seem more active. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny to hear all the screaming outside. The daughter's going crazy because she wants to go out and get some beads. How you get beads at Mardi Gras, which
She
they
want to
couldn't
go
show.
wild.
Right. Um, but I also thought it would be great. So, because do we agree that if New Orleans is not the Twilight Zone, that at least the house they've entered is the Twilight Zone, just for to support Serling's opening narration.
I don't know. Again, neither of us have been to New Orleans. I guess it's hard to say. I want to say the whole town is for Mardi Gras, you know?
Okay. No, fair enough. I just thought like a good kicker would have been at the end of this if they spill out in the street and they've been in hell the entire time.
Or if everyone
Like,
looks freaky. Well, no, actually, that would have defanged the whole episode.
yeah, that would and that would be making an assumption about the people of in Mardi Gras too. One person's just a giant breast. We
Hey,
know what
how's it
you've been
going?
doing.
How's it going?
I'm breasthead, but it's not spelled like that. They leave out the A. Remember me from Dick Tracy? Like there's another guy here from Dick Tracy. He claims to be the Dick.
I mean, Dick Tracy himself is kind of deformed, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
He's
Yes,
pretty square
absolutely.
jawed. So yeah, yeah, that's the world of the mask. That is a. I mean, this story carries no agency in that world, I guess.
No, no. And so, um, yeah, I would say that's the biggest reason though why I like it. I just love a creature reveal, of any kind or a gross makeup reveal of any kind.
What about Wilfred Harper Jr.? Does he show up in a wheelchair and then just get out of the wheelchair for the rest of the episode like it was an affectation or something?
That is super confusing. No. He was in the wheelchair because that was in Grandpa's room. So Grandpa
Okay.
gets around in a wheelchair, but while Junior is in the room, he part of the problem with Junior is he looks the same age as his own father. They could have got someone younger
Yeah, it took
looking.
me a few minutes to work out like, oh, these are the grandkids, these are the kids, right? So
Yeah, he doesn't look a
okay,
day
because when I
younger
was
than his
watching the
dad.
episode, I was like, is this like on SCTV? Was it Guy Caballero who just
Hmm.
rode around in a wheelchair just to look more
Yeah.
something?
No, they all show up and they're standing, but Junior's taking it upon himself to play inside or while sitting in Grandpa's wheelchair while the whole plot is being laid out in the bedroom.
Yeah,
He's
this is
just
another one of those damn one percenter episodes like we just had with Spur of the Moment a few weeks ago.
well, he he's they're trying to illustrate that he's kind of childlike, but why not just hire a younger guy? Someone that's close in age to the one who played the daughter, the granddaughter.
What was it 10 years ago when it's popular to make like here's how like a Wes Anderson X-Men movie would be? This is legitimately something I'd like to see a Wes Anderson version of, doing the
Oh,
masks.
this? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. No, absolutely. What I would like to happen is, it becomes stop motion once they put the masks on, like live action up until that point.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun. Sure, why not?
Yeah.
Makes me think of the Star Trek crossover where they Strange New Worlds on Lower Decks for the last scene of it is it's the Strange New Worlds Enterprise, but it's now animated, like they've all gotten high off of the supply or something.
Oh, wow. And it's like lower deck style.
Yeah, yeah,
That's great. That's
yeah.
awesome.
I don't know. That to me would be like doing the end of this in stop motion. So
Yeah. So no, is it like not as good as I remember it being every time I see it? Yeah. It's not a lot going on. But part of that is there's nothing like the first time you see a snap ending of a Twilight Zone episode because you're anticipating it every other time. I wonder though if someone who has seen uh because this is in season 5, if someone has watched all of them in order, say there was some super fan, how well they would have telegraphed the ending, you know?
I think it's a pretty guessable. I mean, we've talked about before, like a quality of a Twilight Zone is not necessarily like the quality of the twist, you know? Um,
Sure. No, and
so,
don't expect that every time either. That's what ruins a lot of Shyamalan movies for people, other than Shyamalan ruining the movies himself.
but I don't think knowing the ending of this, like actually kind of, this is a case where knowing the ending kind of makes it more entertaining as they're just standing around at 11 p.m. with the masks on, like, this sucks.
They are, and it's so close to midnight. They're so close, and they're like, I can't bear. It's like, for real? Y'all can't wait like 3 minutes.
Well, they did wait. They were able to wait. Now they all look like their masks.
Yeah, don't the only reason why they waited is because Grandpa went on another rant and he made them care just for a few minutes longer, stretched it out so they wouldn't think about themselves. Just kind of amazing that he could do that. But
and then instantly die. It makes me think about the like what is it, one of the big yogis from the mid 20th century. I can't remember the name, but the guy who wrote autobiography of Yogi. They say goes to give a speech, says, "Okay, guys, I'm out," and then he dies.
whoa,
That's kind of what I feel like Grandpa's doing here, because he's like pretty alert, and again, he has like the speaking voice of a thespian until he just like, "Okay, I'm dying now, out."
he does. He croaks. And what's interesting about that is it's never really revealed. Like they say it's his heart, something going on with his heart. But some people that are terminally ill or on death's doorstep, they say sometimes that person will be able to kind of hold out and stave off death until like a relative arrives or a birthday comes or something like that. Just I've just turned 100, black. But but this so maybe this guy has that sort of control over himself to where he can just like kick off right at midnight. I don't know.
Especially if it's for malice, malicious intent.
Yeah. I mean, the doctor could have slipped him something. Who knows? He could have had a mod pill.
Yeah, maybe that's the thing you're saying. Like you watch this episode, it's never quite as good as you think because,
Mhm.
as you said, nobody is likable, or at least like none of the
No,
characters you spend more than 30 seconds with is likable.
no. And the only reason you like this old, this turd, because he is rich. So,
No, it's like
strike
like
one.
you can't quite get behind that guy either because he's trolling his family, quite literally.
Well, not just that, but he's, his they really do his character well because the first scene he has is with his doctor, and he's saying, "Oh, I've been taking care of you for 25 years. I've been your doctor. You've thrown stuff at me." He's like insulting him right off the bat, his own doctor. He's like, "How about that? I'm going to sew your heart to your kneecap, you jerk." So it's they paint him not as great either, but it's kind of great misdirection then because you don't know what to expect from the family until they're immediately awful. They're worse.
Yeah, I guess that's the trick is like he's horrible and they're all worse. Because when we did Uncle Owen was a few months ago or whatever, is like, well, she kind of sucks too. Like both of them kind of
Yeah.
suck. But here it's just like really piling on. Like, yeah, the kids are actually worse
Yeah, but everyone, I mean,
because they're dumber. I think that's
yeah,
why. It's not like he's any less evil than the rest of them, but he's smarter.
they're dumber. Yeah, and the other ones, the doctor and the butler and maid could all just be kind of waiting for him to kick so they get you know, their I don't know what, their cut of
Yeah, they
something.
don't seem to have any sympathy about the situation. They're just like, look at these rich white people.
Right. So, I don't know, but I
Having the
I
first world
definitely
problems.
exactly. They're like, well, as long as I get my paycheck, I don't care. Doctor's like,
And
yeah, as long as he pays my bill before he dies.
we get those houses in the Twilight Zone, so yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess a story that is going to be emotionally resonant will have the character that you can actually kind of get behind, which this episode does not have by design.
No, and I just wonder if like that was Serling just um he had this overarching idea about, morality because who knows sometimes what he was thinking about. He's like, "Oh, I want to take a jab at this type of person this week." You
Or it
know?
might have been someone, hey, Rod, I got this cool makeup application. Can we use it? I'll write
Oh
you a script
yeah,
for
it's like
that. Sure.
we got these things left over, man. What do you want to use them for? It's like, well, I'd like to take them and play with them with my wife in the bedroom. Well, could you write a script about them first? Okay, but we better use them quick because they're gonna get messy.
That's probably what happened, yes.
I'm sure not. I think I'm gonna finally get to meet Anne Serling in the fall.
Okay, don't tell
She's
her that story.
no, no. Anne Serling, who is most certainly a fan of this podcast, that was done in the spirit of humor. What we call humor.
Um, I guess we can start rolling to a few questions. You
Yes.
were already premeditating the answer to who in this episode goes through the Twilight Zone, which,
Okay, I don't have to stick to that. It's just sometimes Serling makes it really clear. But in this
yeah,
time he didn't. He just said this is New Orleans Mardi Gras, but it's also the Twilight Zone. Uh, well, sometimes who dies goes to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but he's kind of in control of the whole situation to the point of like engineering the time and of his own death. So
Right. So whose lives
I
are forever changed sometimes, we've said in the past, are the people that go to the Twilight Zone to break an
Mr.
irreversible.
Jason Foster seems to be like kind of mainlining the Twilight Zone, like he's using it as a weapon, like
Sure. So
which
whatever
kind of
access he
suggests
has
he's
to
not.
it.
Yeah, it seems like
Yes.
all the offspring to me are more of the people experiencing the Twilight Zone, and
Well,
then the
yeah.
doctor and the butler and the maid definitely not because they're just like I imagine they're out in the next room like giggling or cackling
Oh
a bit,
yeah,
you know.
they're largely unaffected by this, and of course the guy who dies, he's that was his plan. So, like you said, it really is the family because they all hit a point that's of no return as far as their comeuppance all looking like you know, who dropped them on the face and ran away. So, let's say them all four.
Yeah. And honestly, I was saying earlier, like, oh, I kind of want to consider Mardi Gras the Twilight Zone too, but I think we do have to delineate that room for this episode is a Twilight Zone. If there's
That's
something else
right.
weird going on in New Orleans, that's a different Twilight Zone. And
That's right. That's
our
a
focus is on this one.
multi-zone.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
multi-zone, the multivitamin zone.
Right.
That sounds like a terrible show.
Multi-vitamin zone. It sounds like QVC.
Yes. I think they've done that late night. They kind of rip off the Twilight Zone logo for the multivitamin zone. I can see that
Oh, I'm
happening. Sure,
sure.
why not?
Oh, I'm sure it's happened. Oh my gosh. So yes, the four family members who were there just waiting for him to die to get all his stuff have gone to the Twilight Zone.
Do they deserve it? It seems they haven't seen each other for years. They show up for this, and they show up for this little soiree. They
Mhm.
all end up looking weird, but they're now rich because they got their inheritance.
Right. Um, I mean, I think they deserved it, yeah, because they suck. A lot of times the person that goes to the Twilight Zone learned a lesson. Uh, and unfortunately, that came at a high price. And so I would say, yeah, they did. I mean, they had
Yeah.
the only reason they were even there is because they're counting the moments until he's dead. I mean, you get the idea that they've never visited him.
Right. I mean, again, though, he is most literally trolling them. Like, and I use the word
Yes.
trolling as that's they're now just ugly rich people, right? Which, I mean, maybe
Yeah.
they actually deserved more. Like they did get what they wanted,
Mhm.
with a string attached.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's
No,
not
they
the worst string ever.
no to get no to get like I said, they would have had to have fallen to trapdoor to hell, you know, like in Tales from the Hood, those guys.
Yeah, I guess it's worse for Paula because she was like a model, right? The actor.
Still a turd.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, yeah, I mean that the whole point of this is like, these people are going to deserve it. Maybe that's why the episode isn't quite as good as you think when you rewatch it, because these people actually don't quite get what they deserve. They deserve something a little nastier from the Twilight Zone, I think.
I agree. I agree. This movie is out right now called The Monkey, and it's an adaptation of a Stephen King story. And it is most definitely one of these like cursed object films. But the people that die in the movie, they die in the most horrifying, random, shocking ways. I haven't seen that level of gore in a while. And it really made me think of like the most twisted like marriage of EC and Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
It's
you could. There's another direction. I was mentioning making this quirkier and weirder, like a Wes Anderson film, or you
mhm.
could make it like a gore fest as the. Yeah, I don't. I guess you can't really work that out with this story. You'd have to make some very elemental changes to it, but.
Oh no, I would have them try to like try to pull the masks off and they can't,
Mm.
after midnight and then they pull it off and their face comes off with it.
Okay, I guess you could do that, but that's still one moment of gore. That's not like what you're talking about, where it's like
Could be four
literally
moments of
sprinkled
gore.
through the. Yeah, yeah. Let's put this one on a tripometer then. Of course,
Oh,
0 is
okay.
not trippy. 5 is extremely trippy. What do you want to give this one?
Oh man, do I have to go first?
Sure.
Okay. I want to say probably I want to say this one's a three for me. Just because of how bizarre everything's very rooted in reality up until a point, and then it's an impossible, an impossible thing happens. With the masks coming off and then looking like free, it's so divorced from reality. So it's gonna rate pretty high with me.
Yeah, yeah, I was sitting there actually thinking 3, but then I was like, oh, 4 for makeup. But that's kind of what you're saying. It's everything is so grounded until it's not, which I do like. I mean, just to reiterate, the tripometer is not a quality meter, so the atmosphere,
No,
the way they play the atmosphere is cool. But yeah, it doesn't fully trip out till it needs to.
you've no indication. It really is like a it's really a twist or a shock.
Except that the viewer of the Twilight Zone can kind of at least, I mean, something's happening, right? You
Oh
might guess this
yeah.
specifically what's happening or not, but you're keyed up for something along those lines for sure.
Yeah. I mean, he could have fed them all, something awful and they all like hallucinated this.
Yeah, yeah, that would be well, yeah, because in this episode it's clearly supernatural, right? What you're talking about could be like a psychological thing, but in this one,
Hmm.
yes, something weird and supernatural happens in this house. There are some Twilight Zones where like, maybe nothing supernatural happened, but this one has multiple witnesses. Something weird happened.
Yeah, otherwise there would have been some kind of like a William Castle gotcha where he wakes back up and, he's like, haha.
Gotcha, because
That's
that's
right.
that's William Castle's catchphrase.
Yep. Please do not reveal the ending of Eye of the Beholder to your friends.
From season 2.
Yeah.
Is this what this episode is doing? It's revealing the end of Eye of the Beholder to your Twilight Zone viewing friends.
I don't know, just the less you know about the ending of Eye of the Beholder, the more this will pay off for you.
The first rule of pig face is you don't talk about pig face.
Yeah, I have heard that.
Hmm. I guess we'll wind this one down then. What's up with you? We're not doing it for Mardi Gras. It seems we're doing this for St. Patrick's Day, but
Okay. Oh, that's great. So Gonzorific, which is the name we call movies my friends and I make here in Athens, Georgia, will be appearing at two different events in early April. The first weekend of April, we will have our booth at Haunt Fest, which is in Athens, and then the weekend after that, we'll have our booth at Oconee County Fan Fest. So you'll have a couple of different chances to get your mitts on our movie 119 before we make it for sale in the Gonzorific shop.
all right. As for this Time Enough podcast, do leave a groovy review and a rating on all the podcatchers and check out our podcasting at podcastiopodcastius.org, where we talk about really good and really bad movies as rated by Internet Movie Database users. I can't say the letters today. That's Films and Filth. We've been talking about Planet of the Apes over at Podcast 1999. There's Luke Loves Pokemon. There's the Game Show. Go dig that stuff. Uh, whether you're wearing a disturbing mask or you're just ugly.
Make sure no one hits you in the back while you're wearing it.
Maybe this episode needed the ugly stick. Before he died, he could have just gone around beating people with the ugly stick.
Dang, ugly stick. Yeah, the masks are actually beautiful.
Right. Okay, I guess I will cut it there then.
All right, man.
Cut it out. Yeah, I will hit the recorder. Goodbye to anyone listening.